So what's the title of this article?
Master on the Mound.
As a good reader, you automatically think strategically and actively to understand what you read. As a tutor, your challenge is to learn specific reading comprehension strategies to teach explicitly, one at a time, to your learner. By learning comprehension strategies, your learner will become aware of how to think in order to make meaning while reading. Skimming is a comprehension strategy that helps readers get to know a text without reading it thoroughly. Good readers skim texts automatically, but struggling readers must be explicitly taught the steps involved in skimming, such as reading the title, subtitles, and headings, looking at illustrations, reading the first and last sentence of each paragraph, looking for key words, and thinking about the text's meaning.
So, Saman, I know that you are a huge meat lover, and I'm a vegetarian, and you've been invited to a vegetarian potluck, and you have absolutely no idea what to make, right?
No.
So you asked me for help, and you
Yes.
said, oh my gosh, please help me to know what I should take to this potluck. And so I went to my very favorite vegetarian cookbook, and I found 3 recipes that are my very favorites. And so I thought that you might want to choose one of these 3 recipes. Again, we can practice the skill of skimming.
Okay.
Because right now, you don't want to read the whole recipe word for word, right? Because I have to be out of here in 5 minutes. And so I really just have time, and I know you have to be someplace too. We're in a hurry. We don't need to read all 3 recipes word by word, getting every single detail. We just want to kind of get a general idea of which of these recipes do you want to make to take to this potluck. Okay. And so the skimming activity that we've been practicing can be used for all kinds of texts, including recipes and cookbooks, and so that you are not going to want to go through every single recipe, reading it word for word. For when I look at a recipe, how much white space is there on the page, or how full of stuff is it? Because what does it mean if it's full of stuff? What about this recipe, which is my favorite recipe?
Lasagna?
Yeah. But just looking at that page and sort of skimming it for keywords and key ideas is
12 steps, I know that.
Exactly. There's 12 steps just in this part.
In that
there
one part.
are 4 steps here,
yeah.
And how many ingredients are there?
A lot.
Okay, so you're just skimming it, right?
Yeah.
You're not reading that the sunflower seeds are toasted,
yeah.
and that there's a fourth of a cup of them.
Yeah.
But you can see that there's a heck of a lot of ingredients, and there are at least 16 steps here.
Yep.
Okay, so that's going to influence your decision, right? Do you have a bunch of time to cook for this potluck?
No.
Okay, so that, and here's another little clue, that if you want to make your own pesto, it's another page.
Ooh.
Yeah, okay. So skimming this, what really jumps out at you?
The title.
The title? Okay, what about the title jumps out at you?
Lasagna.
Which is good or bad?
Good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What other information have you gotten from skimming?
How long will it take? And how many steps for one section?
Anything else, about the ingredients or anything?
Do I have any at home, or do I have to go to the store?
Right, so you've gotten the general idea of, is this a shopping trip, or do I have everything already at home?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other information that skimming has given you so that you can evaluate this recipe?
Well, I know this will take a long time because it's longer in an hour to preheat for 35 to 40 minutes to bake.
Okay.
Then how many servings?
Skimming this recipe, were you able to get a sense of how much time and effort?
Yeah.
Is this an easy, fast recipe, or?
No, it's longer and it'll take time.
Okay. So was it helpful to skim this?
Yes.
Would there have been any point for you to read every single word?
Probably wasting my time if I would read word by word.
Okay. Because to understand this for your purpose of decision making, to decide whether you want to make this for the potluck, skimming was all you needed to do, right?
Yeah.
And then later you would go back, whatever recipe you choose of the 3, then later you'll go back and you'll read more thoroughly. So that's recipe number 1, which I love, but again, pretty labor intensive.
Okay.
Recipe number 2, which you can tell because my cookbook is so gross that I use this recipe a lot. Okay, so skim this recipe. Just take a couple seconds to skim this recipe for quiche. It's a quiche formula. So what are you picking out? What keywords are sort of coming at you?
Well, the title
Okay.
and the fill in, you know, what to put in and what kind of cheese.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't say how long it takes, but probably will take a couple.
There we go.
Oh, okay, 35 to 40 minutes, okay.
So do you feel like you're able to evaluate this recipe to see whether this is going to be something that you would want to make for this potluck?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're able to evaluate that. Do you feel like you've given it enough time, you've skimmed it, you've spent enough time on this recipe?
Yeah.
Without reading word for word?
Yeah, and then if you have it at home, all the ingredients.
That's another thing, right? Oh gosh, I don't have time to go shopping.
Yeah.
So I skim it to see, you know, what ingredients and how long it's going to take. So the third recipe that I marked for you is this one.
The soup.
Yeah, what kind of soup?
Ba-
Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts, those little cabbage things.
Okay.
So what do you notice about this, just by, again, running your eyes across the page and sort of...
Shorter.
You know, shorter, a lot shorter, right? Yeah, what do you notice about how many steps?
Only 5 steps.
Only 5 steps
Only
versus
take
16
3,
and,
yeah.
and 3 other pages,
Yeah.
right? And can you sort of skim the ingredients to see if those are all things that you like to eat?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, they're all good.
Okay. Okay, good. Anything else jump out at you?
3 to 5 minutes to heat it up.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah.
How long does it take to make?
15 minutes. Well, 15 minutes or until
Oh, that's just one part.
for one. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like, can you...
Oh,
sort of-
45 minutes.
Oh, right, okay, good.
Preheat. Well,
Preparation time. Okay,
45
and then
minutes.
it looks like another 15 to heat or something.
Okay. Then serve 4 servings.
So do you feel like just from skimming, like of course once you decide on the recipe, you're going to read every single word in the right order, right? You're not going to be jumping around and looking at stuff. So do you think that you have enough information from skimming these 3 recipes to decide?
Yeah.
Which one are you going to choose?
Oh, the soup one.
And why?
It's shorter.
Shorter and easier and
Yeah.
yeah, that's probably a good pick for your first vegetarian recipe
Yeah,
ever.
then later on, the lasagna and the, all the other.
Okay, all right, great. Well, good, thank you.
You're welcome.
You've just seen a learner and a tutor practicing skimming strategies to help the learner understand the gist of the text. You can use this strategy with a variety of texts for several different purposes, depending on your learner's interests and needs. The goal of practicing reading comprehension is for your learner to master and internalize more and more comprehension strategies to choose from and use in a variety of reading situations. You've seen a tutor do quite a bit of talking when explaining a new strategy. During most lessons, you and your learner would be equally talkative.